Hey there folks, this is GreenXI welcoming you right back to Let's Play Higurashi. This is episode 167. In the last episode, we made a start on all of the fragments that have been laid before us over the 7 pages. And for the most part, it was just about them starting up the moral dilemma that Irie has now with lobotomizing, essentially, or looking into a brain of a patient that's nearly dead, so that they can see if the parasites are there and all that. But the last one we saw was his background. So let's see what we can get from there. Keep looking. Death of Kozumi, I haven't had that. Death of the Dam Construction, I haven't had that for definite. If we go back a little bit, maybe. Because maybe these will work out now. 30 Years Curse, no. Death of Sadako, no. When all this is happening, so it's not... spoilers. Help from the Queen Carrier, result of the search, research, no. Bat to beat, no. No, repeat apologies, no. 3 we checked. Fragments required first, we'll need to go back to that one, I guess. Weekend Sadako's shopping trip, no. I want to carry on with this one first, really. Guys first. No. Tea-set, no. Conflict between Hojo family and son, nope, haven't happened. Soapy milk candy is required, red capsule is required, nope. Benjamin, no. Rossi urchin. Game board must be set up. I don't know what that means. Fragment from the Watanagashi chapter is required. I don't know. From Onakakushi chapter is required. I'm not sure which ones are from which, to be honest, even though I've seen it all. 7 fragments required, so we can't do that one yet. What we'll do then, I guess we'll go back and do these ones need to be done first, kind of things first. And then maybe it'll all set itself up well. You know. Okay. Fragments required first. I think that was the end of that one. I think it was all just about AVA, you know. Come on then, you. Tomitaki, let's see how you are doing. The forecast said there was a chance of rain in the evening, but I didn't think it would rain so hard. We decided to wait at an abandoned bus stop for the rain clouds to clear. I'm sorry, Takano-san. Oh, don't be Juro-san. I knew it would pour, so don't worry about it. Did I say not Tomitaki? I was right. Takano-san giggled. Although she said the weather might change suddenly, I dragged her out here. I feel stupid for making her come along, and ended up ruining her precious day off. I have to go back to Tokyo tonight, so it'll be a while before I can return to Hinamazawa. I didn't want to spend my last day at a cheap hotel in Okinamaya, so I asked her to go for a stroll. It's just... I'm really sorry. She teased me for a while, but only a little. She wasn't actually enjoying driving me into a corner. That's just her way of communicating, and I find it very charming. I think I've become captivated by her, but on her part I'm just annoyed at her from Tokyo. That's why she's being nice to me, and it's definitely not because she likes me personally. So I feel like I might have used my position to drag her out here, and that makes me a little depressed. I probably should think the slight fever I have is due to nothing more than the cold. But she was the type of person who made it clear when she disliked something. She wouldn't say so directly, but she would use all kinds of indirect expressions that meant the same thing. So I want to believe she's out here because she might be even a little bit attracted to me. I shook my head as I frowned upon my selfish thoughts. She chuckled as though she knew what I was thinking. I felt myself starting to go red after that. You're a mysterious person, Juro-san. I bet women don't leave you alone, huh? So why are you hanging out with a weirdo like me? A weirdo? No way! You're fascinating, Takano-san. Actually, I feel bad making you spend a day with someone like me. Of course, I've decided to devote my life to my work, but life is too dry with only that. I need to switch gears once in a while. Besides, communicating with the opposite sex is good for the brain. It's all good if I manage to help you clear your head. Don't you feel refreshed just being with me? She gives me an impish smile that makes my heart skip a beat. I tried hiding my embarrassment so she wouldn't notice, even my ears going red. Of course, when I'm with you, I do feel refreshed, yeah. Besides, if you learn about avian photography, I'll gain a buddy to share my hobby with. So next time I'll bring my old camera. It's really expensive to buy a new one, you know. Thank you. I would love to learn about the avian photography that you're so intrigued by. I'm looking forward to joining you on a stroll next time you go. So I don't need to buy a camera, do I? No. Try with my old camera first, and if you enjoy it, then you can buy one for yourself. I'll send it to you when I get back to Tokyo. Thank you. Then I'll have you critique my photos when you come next time. Sure. I can hardly wait to see them. They'd be nothing compared to yours. It'll be my very first time doing it, you know. While she keeps so cool and smiles, all I can do is blush and scratch my head. Am I being conceited? I can't help but think that Takano-san likes being with me. If it's mere flattery, I don't think she'd come along this far. Oh, no, no, no. Taking women's flattery seriously is a mistake I always make. I shouldn't assume that she's attracted to me. By the way, isn't this the first time we've been alone like this? Ah, yeah, you're right. Usually the director or some other research staff is around. I don't know anything about you. I don't know exactly what you do in Tokyo, or what you've done in the past. I wonder what you do in the self-defense force. I was an instructor for a while, but I hurt my eye when I was injured. I can live life normally, but they made a big deal out of it, and ever since all I do is desk work. Takano-san giggles, saying I must have done something silly to cause the injury. And when I helped PR with their magazine, I became fascinated by photography. Cameras have the power to make people happy. I bet you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's true. Since I started to take pictures, my life has been a lot happier. How can a camera make someone happy? A camera takes a snapshot of a moment of life. Of course you want to capture a moment that's filled with happiness, right? So you look for happiness through the viewfinder. And as you search, you realise your everyday life is actually filled with happiness. For example, a dandelion sprouting from the crack of the asphalt is just a weed in a busy life. But when you look at it through the viewfinder, it's a gift to let you know that spring is approaching. You capture it and put it in an album. And every time you open the album, you remember the happy feeling you had when you took the picture. So you always feel that way when you take your pictures? Sure. I don't have ambitions of taking artistic photos or capturing a dramatic prize-winning moment. That's not important to me. I want those moments we don't notice. And helping us recognise those little moments of happiness is the greatest thing about cameras to me. So I'm really glad to be able to see Hinamizawa through my viewfinder. I have a tendency to go overboard when I talk, but most of the time, Takano-san playfully twists my words right back at me. So it's very unusual for her to listen to me like this. Takano-san sat down next to me and tried to fiddle with my camera. I don't know how much of an impression I made, but I think she is indeed interested in cameras. I was expecting her to tease me like usual, so I'm happy to see that this is her reaction. Do you want to try? Do you think I can? It's easy. First you just need to learn how to focus and press the shutter. Or don't you hold it? Oh, don't ever touch the lens though. Oh, it blurs it. Whew. This isn't easy. Since she seemed to show an interest in cameras, I wanted to take a walk around Hinamizawa and take some pictures of the scenery. But unfortunately the rain doesn't seem to want to stop. But she was still having fun and kept taking pictures inside the bus stop. So the first set of pictures she ever took were of odd things in that dark little building. Since then, every time we'd meet we ended up walking around the village with our cameras in our hands. Okay, the hint I get out of that is their relationship, that's one link, as well as the odd little building she took photos of, and I assume that's the shrine building? There we go. So, is there anything like that? Sure, medicine, haven't completed the medicine yet. No. I know, I'm looking through this a lot, don't I? But it feels necessary. I want to get them in a certain order kind of thing. Maybe I should be doing them just the first ones first. It'd be easier to cancel a couple out. Game board must be set up. What's that mean? Okay, I understand. I can't do them yet. But what's it mean? From the Onakakushi chapter, fragment from the Watanagashi. I don't know. I don't know if these bits before everything starts count as being from an arc or not. A chapter. I don't think they must do. Let's go back to the start. Sadako, Dido. I think we'll go for the first ones. I know we'll mix things up, but I think that's the whole point. Yeah, I think that's the whole point. Because I'm not seeing any more about him. Yet, at least. So, fragments required first. Come on then, let's go for this one. So the dam construction will bring in new jobs and revitalise the local industry. That's not what we're saying. Who the hell gave you permission to build a dam here? You squeeze tax money from us, and this is what we get in return? Who do you think pays your salaries, huh? Look, we're trying to explain to you. We don't want to hear your excuses. We want to know when you'll stop the construction. You're useless. Bring the Minister of Construction here. He'll get to the bottom of it. Shut up, you yuppie. Hey, you're paid with our tax money, so why the hell are you talking down to us from there? Come down here and let's speak face to face. The auditorium is filled with angry shouting. The sign at the entrance says, Hinamazawa Dam Construction Explanatory Meeting. Every time the official on the stage tried to say anything, the citizens packed into the room silenced him with their shouts. Trying to ignore them, the official continued to explain the purpose of the dam. But that just further infuriated them. Between the stage and the citizens, there was an open area where a police squad was standing by. If they weren't there, the citizens would jump onto the stage and start a riot. I'm watching all this from the back of the auditorium. It's obvious to anyone that they're being swallowed by their anger. They've become filled with a bloody red rage. The anger that came from a certain purpose becomes a purpose in itself, and it creates a vicious cycle, where anger leads to more anger. Anger is a necessary emotion for humans. People face many difficulties in their lives. Anger gives them the motivation to fight and conquer such difficulties. Therefore, anger is an essential part of life itself. So I will never reject anger itself. However, anger like this, that goes far beyond normal, makes people forget their purpose. That is no longer an essential part of life. As the blood rushes to their head, a person can't even remember what they've done. They go out of control. Such emotions are very painful, sad, difficult to endure. I can clearly see the villagers who live alongside us turn into demons. I understand the rules of the human world. The power of an individual can't be compared to the power of the government. To be able to fight, an individual needs to become part of a larger, unified power. But to steer that unified power in the right direction is extremely difficult. The cycle of anger leads to more anger. Not anger that helps you live, but anger that exists only for anger. It's just like being a demon. And this emotion is capable of violently rousing us from our long, peaceful slumber. Everyone's immersed in their own anger. We lived peacefully with the villagers while we slept quietly. Yet now we've awakened, and it's like the world is trying to return to that age when demons were said to rise from Onakafuchi swamp. I keep shouting at everyone to get them to calm down, but my voice can't reach them because of the vicious cycle of anger. Even so, I'll continue shouting, hoping even one of them will hear my voice. Because if I don't do anything, the demons may awaken. The demons that went into a deep sleep may reawaken because of this commotion. Then all of a sudden the atmosphere changed. Looking up, I saw that the angry exchange between villagers and those on the podium had evolved into confrontation between the villagers themselves. What's going on? Shut up! Those are your reasons, not ours. Don't pull us into this, you old hag. Who the hell cares? The hell you say, you bastard? Hey. Do you know who you're talking to? This is all you, San. You got some nerve, huh? Oh, the Sonzaki granny. Who the hell do you think you are? Shut up. Sonzaki? So what? I'm Hojo. Get your goons away from me. Hojo versus Sonzaki. That was one of the fragments. Hey, Hojo. How dare you say that you want the village to be submerged? How much are they paying you? Shut up, you old geezer. Listen, there are plenty of poor people in Hinamazawa. Not everyone is rich and has fields all over the mountain like you do. I'm satisfied with the compensation from the government. They've even offered to provide us with public housing. Yet you're ruining everything, you assholes. Don't pretend you're the same as us. If you want to fight with the government, why don't you fight by yourself? Then who's going to pay? You? I'm poor and have 2 kids at home. I was planning to start a new life by leaving here in peace after getting compensation from the government and finding a job elsewhere. But you, since when did you represent me, huh? Do you think you're that important or what? Hey, Hojo. How dare you betray us? Then get out of this village. Sure, I'll be happy to, but you're going to pay what I'm entitled to, right? You're going to pay me every yen of the compensation I was going to get from the government? Even if I wanted to leave the village, I don't have the money. If you're going to pay me, I'll leave straight away. Hojo is right. There are plenty of residents who are willing to leave. You 3 families shouldn't drag us into this. The hell is this? Who just spoke? Come on, who was it? If you want to stay, then stay. We have the right to leave, so don't interfere. That's right. Back the hell off, you damn Sonzaki hag. Of course we'll compensate the people who support the dam construction plan. We most certainly will not steal the land from you. Shut up, government dog. You trying to divide the village? Die, Hojo. You don't deserve to breathe the village air. Hold your breath and suffocate to death. Screw you, old hag. I'll murder your ass. Step up front, you damn hag. Hey, stay out of this, you fat pig. Very good. That was very good, Hojo. I haven't been this pissed off in so long. You'll get what you deserve. Look forward to it. Get him, Hojo. The government has to provide us new jobs, shelter, compensation. Hey, stop this violence. All of you stop it. Like hell, bring it on. Come and get some. Everyone's being tainted with a bloody red anger, and I can only watch. The least I can do is to apologize for the tragedy that's about to happen. I'm sorry. These apologies, is this the other fragment that was like the continuous apologies? This is how things started. From this day onward, the Hojo family and the Sonzaki family will wage a feud against each other, and the Hojo family will become ostracized within the village. This marks the beginning of Sadako and Satoshi's lives of tremendous hardship. Okay. So we heard about it in another arc, didn't we? Or two. But now we're seeing it up front kind of thing. The one I'm thinking of going for next is that one that was the arguments between the two. Who was it to? Death of Khan. No, not that one. Week of 4 days, how you feel? No. Oh god, I can't remember where it was now. Repetitive apologies? Maybe? Yeah, it is. Oh, yes. She was apologising then, wasn't she? Because she knew bad things were coming. I mean. Huff, 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 huff. Shit, damn, shit. Manager, come on, say something. Manager. You idiot. He's dead already. Clang. A loud noise snapped everyone out of it. Someone dropped the shovel he was holding. The shovel was smeared with reddish black blood. No, not just the shovel. All 6 construction workers' clothes were blood-soaked too. One of them cried out to the silent dead body of the manager, which was drenched in blood. Manager. Oh, shut up. He's already dead. It was self-defense, right? Self-defense. The fight had started after the manager yelled at them for drinking beer inside the office. There were no drinking and no smoking signs everywhere. The manager harshly scolded at anyone who broke that rule, so it was the 6 workers' fault for disobeying. But they drank because they were stressed out by the anti-dam protesters. That's why they said things to provoke the manager. They told him to step out, and the others went along. The construction workers toiled hard and long hours. That's why they instigated the fight with the manager to release their stress. They had expected to just curse at each other, or to end up in a wrestling match. But things escalated, or to put it more accurately, the manager exploded all of a sudden. The manager had to deal with the residents' protests as well, so he was under just as much pressure, or maybe even more. But how he changed was not normal. The manager was calm at first, but he gradually became more aggressive, and it was like he transformed into someone completely different. No, it was like he was possessed by something evil. The men who instigated the fight sobered up when they saw his behaviour. Then, the manager picked up a shovel that was nearby and tried to smash his opponent's head in with it. He managed to avoid the hit, but if he didn't, his head would have surely been split open. The manager kept pounding on him with the shovel, even as he frantically tried to avoid the hits. By this time the workers had realised this was beyond a simple fight, so they tried to hold the manager down, but the manager turned on them with the shovel too. One of the men tried to protect himself by crossing his arms above his head, but there was no way they could have blocked a shovel swung with such force. Blood spurted out and the man groaned in pain. By this time the 6 men had realised the manager was not his usual self. This manager would try to bash in their brains without hesitation. Since their opponent was using a shovel as his weapon, they had to find some kind of weapon too. One of them grabbed a huge hammer. Then the others realised they needed to find something as well. To restrain the manager in that condition, it was better to arm themselves. It wasn't supposed to be this way. It didn't take that long for the madness to infect the 6 workers. It was only a matter of time before they went from restraining him to lynching him. By the time they realised what had happened, the manager was already a lump of meat. His face was swollen, shreds of skin had been torn off, and his muscles and skull were visible too. Obviously, he was quite dead. Fuck. He almost killed us, remember? If he hadn't attacked us, we wouldn't have fought him, right? The leader of the 6, the one who instigated the fight, tried to bring the rest to his side, but nobody replied. And so, the leader became frustrated. He was the one who started the fight. The rest simply joined in. He was the main perpetrator. Maybe that was why he was feeling so exasperated. He sensed that he was the one at fault. Don't just stand there like a limp noodle. It's too late. We killed him, and there's nothing we can do about it. We're all murderers now. Buck up. You ain't thinking about turning yourselves in and doing time, are you? Fuck you. I can't go to the slammer at my age. We're hiding it. We're hiding this corpse and pretending nothing happened. Some of them knew he was on probation for an assault incident once before, so if he got into trouble with the law again, the punishment would be more severe than they could imagine. That was why he was trying desperately to find a way out. If he was alone with the manager's body, then he wouldn't have behaved this way. All he would have to do was to hide the manager's body and pretend nothing happened. But there were 6 of them, including him. They were partners in crime, and witnesses too. If even one of them turned himself in out of guilt, he'd be in big trouble. But even if we hide the body, they'll find out sooner or later. Instead, we should plead justifiable self-defense. They might end up pardoning us. Don't be so stupid. Look what we've done. Look at his face. Who would think this is the result of self-defense? His parents wouldn't even be able to identify him in this condition, you idiot. But even if we hide it, everyone's going to find out tomorrow morning when the manager doesn't show. It's hopeless. What's hopeless is your damn brain, you shithead. He slapped the other man in the face. The leader had such an evil look in his eyes. Listen, well, dipshits. We're all murderers, okay? Keep griping now, and we'll all get slammed with 5 or 6 years. Just one of you here, try and blab. We'll all be locked up. Don't underestimate the pen. If you're prepared to be caught anyway, then run like your life depends on it. You can resign yourself to it later when it's time to pay the piper. His visage turned more and more demonic. It was the same expression the manager had just a few minutes before. Was he possessed by the same thing that possessed the manager? The 5 men started to think that way. Now that they considered it, all the villagers in the anti-dam protests had the same expression on their faces too. The real name of Hinamizawa was Onagafuchi Village. People said that wicked demons lived there. Sometimes they possessed people. The men couldn't help but to recall that exaggerated story, often told by the demonstrators. The man just swung the shovel after his expression changed to that demonic one. There was no guarantee this man wouldn't do the same. In fact, he was still squeezing the hammer in his hand, glaring at everyone and threatening them. If someone suggested surrendering, he'd probably smash their head in with it. I know. To make sure nobody betrays the rest, I have an idea. It'll make it easier to hide the body too. We've heard about this. We're gonna cut up the body into 6 pieces. What? They all wanted to object to the idea. Killing him was a serious crime itself. Dismembering the body would be too much, but if anyone objected, he'd be killed on the spot. So no one said anything. We'll all cut him up together. Remember what the manager used to say? Teamwork. We're all in this together. We'll each take a body part and hide it responsibly. What do you think, huh? This way we're all equally guilty, right? I won't let anyone give themselves up. Oh, the 5 men were all taken in by his ghastly face, and they could even feel the fear of the Onagafuchi demons creep up their backs. Okay, so that's the death of the construction manager. And I'm pretty sure that was a fragment as well. So let's have a gander. I think it was on the bottom right corner of one of them, I think. Execution order for Position needs to stand. Nope. Death of the construction manager. That should be it, shouldn't it? Yeah. I don't know what to say. I want to say something, but I can't think of the right words. I can only sigh. Ah, Ushi-san. I've been looking for you. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster. Be quiet. It's a place of rest. As Kumagai barged into the room, the old coroner quickly snapped back at him. Sorry. The section manager asked me about the wanted poster for the suspect. Ah. Can you talk to Komiyama-kun about that? I need to speak to the coroner here. Could you tell him I'll be right over? Okay. Kumagai ran out of the autopsy room with the same haste he entered in. Lively, isn't he? The old man would have slapped him for making such a fuss. You probably should go back too. The air in here isn't for people who aren't used to it. You're right. If I slack off too long, I might get slapped as well. Here in Shishibone, all the hoodlums crossed the street when you passed through, yet he's the only one, past or future, who's ever punched you for splitting your sumo wrong. He really was a merciless man. I think he punched me more than my real father. Doesn't matter if he was your real one or not. If you looked up to him in the same way, then he really was a father to you. Ooze, I don't understand. My real father passed away in Nagoya. This is Irie, right? He was unlucky. If he wasn't given the order to move to a plant in Nagoya, he wouldn't have died in the air raid. No, it's not. If he could have rode it out another half a year or so, then the war would have been over. I was sad, of course, but I was grown up enough by then that I didn't cry into the ground like my mother did. But people feel sadness in different ways. For some people it comes all at once as an overwhelming wave, but others feel sadness gradually over a long period of time. I think I was the latter. When he was alive, I only thought of him as annoying. In my mind, I even cursed him with questions about why he avoided the draft. And I thought my feelings towards him would always be the same. Then the war ended. As I saw families and friends being reunited with joy as they came home from the front, it finally happened. I grieved for my father's death. Japan was filled with people who were sad and full of despair. I knew I wasn't the only one whose life ended up that way. But I remember I was very, very heartbroken. I'm not sure who this is talking. After the war, the nation completely changed. As a policeman, the environment I worked in went through sudden changes too. In order to forget my sorrow, the only thing I could do was devote myself to my work. Uishi? At the time I was in charge of busting people for buying rice illegally. I conducted spot checks on travellers at major train station, and boy did I find a lot of them. There was a fairly big black market in Gogura, and a lot of people came from as far as Osaka to buy it. After the war, Japan faced a chronic shortage in food supply. To those ends, the nation instituted a food rationing program by signing the Food Control Act. But the rations the government provided weren't even close to being enough to feed families. Therefore, people had no choice other than buying food and supplies on the black market. The government hardly had enough food for rations, but there was somehow plenty on the black market. The dealers there sold it at outrageous prices, and some of them became quite wealthy. The Sonsaki family made their money through that black market, but that's another story. The government didn't bother arresting these dealers, for with their money they were able to buy off the top members of the police department. Instead, they decided to go after the people buying the goods and even confiscated the rice they bought by selling everything they owned. Yeah, I remember that. Wasn't there a prosecutor who starved himself to death? Yeah, there was. The prosecutor who vowed not to eat illegal rice starved to death. Wasn't it in 1947? That was horrible. He, a public prosecutor, proved it himself that people couldn't survive by adhering to the law. That prosecutor had grown tired of the government charging people with doing whatever they could to survive, and he proclaimed that he was never going to buy black market rice again. In 1947 he starved to death when he was only in his mid-30s. The law prohibited people from buying black market rice, but that was the only way to survive. In that case, was the Food Control Act a bad law itself? The death of the prosecutor was seen as a desperate message to the government about the unjustness of that law. We rounded up people with bags of rice and lined them up at the temporary inspection point next to the station. It was like a military tribunal. We inspected their bags, confiscated everything that they bought at the black market. The women all cried. They sold everything they owned to buy the rice. They pleaded that if we confiscated the rice, how would they feed their starving children? Doesn't make sense, huh? Yet they forbade you from going after the sellers, so it was absolutely unfair from the view of the people. Everyone was on edge. If they heard a police inspection was set up at the next station, they'd jump off the train and run. We were aware of these people, so we set up several officers near jump-off spots in order to capture them. I remember chasing after women carrying several kilos of rice on them. That was when I first met the old man. Man, I was surprised. Remember my father? He looked exactly like him. I really thought that maybe my father had miraculously survived the air raid in Nagoya. I was chasing a man who was running away from the inspection point. There was no way for him to run with a heavy bag of rice on him. So either he'd get arrested with illegal rice, or escape by ditching the rice that he bought by selling all his belongings. In other words, if a person's being chased by the police, that person can't provide his family any rice to eat. Of course, I felt guilty about that. I knew people had to buy the rice to survive. So we had a tacit agreement to let those who ditched the rice and get away. So I was thought the same thing as I chased them. Please throw it away. I didn't want to catch him, because I didn't want to hear him crying and pleading in distress. It was then that the old man showed up. He looked exactly like my dead father. I was dumbfounded. Then all of a sudden he punched me in the head. If a father disciplines you as a child, you lower your head in apology. I was so happy to see my father alive that I couldn't hold my joy in. The old man said, "Let him go." When I heard his voice, I realised he wasn't my father, so I thought I'd arrest him for assaulting a policeman. But a young man like me, who'd barely grown any hairs yet, was no match for an older man used to fighting. Yeah, he sure taught me a lesson. Gave me a good scolding in the middle of a street after I was all beaten up. Who would even listen to him, right? But something struck me then. I kept seeing my father in him. All I could do was listen. Yeah, he was a ruffian, but he showed his guts, like a real man. That's what made him such a great guy. You don't see men like him nowadays. He was a true example of a man from the good old times. Despite my age, I still needed a father. I needed someone to look up to, and to show me what makes a man a man. When I think about it, I really did have two fathers. The old man was a father, a brother, and my best friend. But now, here he lies with his head, body, arms and legs all dismembered, and his right arm hasn't been found. Now I see how it links. I was wondering all the way through then. He taught me how to be a man, how to enjoy alcohol, how to play mahjong, and with that right arm, he gave me a good beating when I did something wrong. But that right arm's still missing. Do you have any suspects? Of course. I swear I'll find the old man's right arm and pay them back for what they've done to him. They're running Hinamizawa from the shadows, and inciting this collective crime they call the damn protests, the Sonsaki family. I declare war within myself. I already know who my enemy is. So who's blaming the Sonsaki family for that guy dying? Is that why should I go out of there? I think so. But I'm not sure where that links. I can't think of one of the fragments that links with that kind of thing. Okay, let's read a couple more. Yeah. Death of Koizumi, no. That's the one that keeps popping up in my head. Rock Candy, Sadako Hojo's test results. Satoshi, part-time job, footsteps following Satoshi. Conflict between Hojo and Sonzaki. I think we had that at the auditorium. Self-introduction of Sadako. We haven't had that yet. Yoku family's move. Watermelon from the Sonzaki family. Nope. I think that one will go for next. Yeah, there's been a conflict. I don't know if there's been enough of a conflict for this to be met. Oh, it is. Good. I ran to Sadako while on my way to the grocery store for my mother. Sadako said she was going there too, so we decided to go together. After exchanging our shopping lists, it became easy to guess what the other family would be having for dinner. Sadako's family is having grilled fish and cooked vegetables. We're having Salisbury steak. Nice. My, that sounds so very good. I don't mind the grilled fish, but it's the vegetables I'm less fond of. I'm certain there's still plenty of pumpkin left from the other day. Then I bet you'll be getting a lot tonight. Poor Sadako. She don't like pumpkin. I don't appreciate knowing the pumpkin is going to show up on the dinner table. Meep, says Rika. Ah, this was a fragment. They go shopping. You don't like pumpkin, no matter how it shows up. Rika, you have some food you're not fond of, don't you? That's right, you don't like daifuku, cream puffs or anything sweet, do you? It's not that I don't like those things, I just choose not to eat them. If I wanted to, I could eat sweets forever. I could even eat pumpkin pie too, nipa. Oh, it's not fair that you aren't a picky eater. Conversations like this are how I have fun. Sadako is my best friend. I usually don't like grocery shopping, but if I'm with Sadako, I can make it into an enjoyable evening stroll. Near the supermarket there's a grocer's and other shops forming a little shopping district. The grocery store is busy this time of day. All the housewives in Hinamizawa gather here to shop. Since Sadako and I have different things to buy, we decided to do our shopping separately. Welcome, welcome! Oh, Rika-chama! Are you shopping for your mother? What a good girl! Nipa! I'm a good girl who can go shopping by herself. Wow, you really are a good girl. Here, I'll give you this. There are several candies for the owner's occasional asthma attack inside a sieve full of change hanging in the front. He picked out a sweet from there and gave it to me. It was my favourite flavour, strawberry milk. That was a fragment! Strawberry milk. Okay. I put it in my pocket so I can brag about it to Sadako later. I get a lot of fun out of teasing Sadako and making her jealous. She always overreacts, so I never get bored when I'm with her. What are you having for dinner tonight, Rika-chama? Ground pork. Making Salisbury steak. We're going to put flower-shaped fried eggs on top and draw pictures on them with ketchup. Oh ho ho, that sounds like fun. I enjoyed that conversation while filling my shopping basket. But then I overheard some women whispering. They're talking about something that's a little harsh. They're talking about Sadako. How long do those village traders plan to stay here? They should just leave. They don't even have the guts to go shopping themselves and make their daughter do it instead. The women went on and on. Ever since the Hojo family and the Sonzaki family got into a huge fight at the explanatory meeting for the dam project, the Hojo family has been ostracized within the village. At first there were a significant number of families in favour of leaving like the Hojos, but the main branch of the Sonzakis led a push to completely solidify the village's opinion, and as that tone of unified resistance grew stronger, the pro-evacuation families steadily grew quiet. The public harassment led by the Sonzakis and Kimiyoshis, two of the three families with powerful influence on the village, also played an effect too. Sonzaki family made the Hojo family into an example, to ensure there would be no more pro-evacuation supporters. The ancestors of the villagers have lived here for generations. The villagers also know that they themselves would be buried in the village, so this harassment put a lot of pressure on them. Who was it that agreed to make the Hojo family the leader of the pro-evacuation group at the explanatory meeting? Those same people no longer said anything. They even joined in on harassing the Hojo family. The harassment they faced then became pressure from the entire village. The Hojo family is hardly wealthy, and they haven't paid the town council fees in a long time. When things were peaceful, nobody said anything about it. But now the wind was blown a different way. Hojo family was asked to pay off all of their late council fees immediately. It wasn't an amount they couldn't afford, but the Hojos recognised a fight was being picked with them, and they responded to it. And so the Hojo family quit the town council. But that only played right into the village's evil plan. Making an enemy of the town council meant facing vicious harassment. For example, the place the Hojos dumped their trash was a provisional dumping site established by the town council and the waste management department. Under the council agreement, only council members could use it. Ever since the day the Hojo family quit the village council, their trash bags were returned to their front door. Furthermore, all the bags were torn. Top of that, a sign went up on the hedge road near the Hojo family. It said private road, no trespassing, only council members permitted. A stubborn old man stood and guarded the road, saying that he would not let any of the Hojo family members pass through. A private road is private property opened up to the public, so it looks just like a normal road. However, as private property, the owner can forbid anyone else to pass through whenever they like. More and more, the village piled on vicious harassment. The fear of antagonism spread through the entire village, and people became afraid that if they supported the Hojo family, they'd go through the same thing. This has made the Hojo family even more isolated. The grown-ups haven't told their kids about what's going on, so Sadako isn't harassed in any way at school. But it wasn't hard to imagine she probably spent her days feeling so anxious she could hardly breathe. Even the women whispering in here aren't saying anything directly to Sadako. But it's not like she doesn't notice their muttering and the cold stares. When did this village become so cold towards her? As her best friend, it's very sad for me. Sadako's shopping experience is nothing like mine. When I say hello or buy things, I usually get treats or a discount, but that doesn't happen to Sadako. On the contrary, she's served last on purpose, and sometimes shop owners even pretend they don't hear her. Obviously, people don't want to have anything to do with her. Sadako had been weaving through the housewives crowd in the shop, telling the fishmonger what she wanted, but she kept getting ignored. She's decided to keep her smile and pretend she doesn't mind, but I know. It was far too painful for her to endure. At that point, Sadako dropped her coins on the ground. Maybe her finger got stuck on something when she was trying to put the change back into her wallet. I ran through the crowd to help her pick them up, but as I did, I noticed something. Sadako dropped a lot of coins and is struggling to pick them all up, but nobody's helping her. It's not just that, it's almost like they're acting like they don't even see her there. Sadako isn't expecting anyone to help her, since she's the one who dropped them. But there's so many people around, and not even one is trying to aid her. Sadako, I'll help you. Ah. I'm okay, Rika. That reaction is all I need to know to tell how hurt she is. Furthermore, when I started to help Sadako, other housewives started to pick up the coins too, because it's Rika, not Sadako. As if it's a natural thing to do. So they can only help if a shrine maiden of the Furude family does. If I didn't help, they would have disregarded her completely. And the fact that other people helped only because I did hurt Sadako even more. I grabbed the coins from the housewives without thanking them. I'd rather spit at them than do that. Thank you very much, Rika. Everyone. If she didn't thank them, people would talk about that too. Sadako forced out her words of gratitude. The housewives looked down at her with blank expressions. I can't stand this. I can't stand what Sadako is going through right now. If we were done, let's go, Sadako. Sure. I grabbed Sadako's arm and pulled her away. I was frustrated, sad, and bitter. What's Sadako done? Reality is just too cruel. Everyone loves me, but can I share that love with Sadako? Sadako must be wondering why people treat me so differently. I shouldn't come shopping with her. Or rather, I should have done her shopping instead. Sadako. What is it, Rika? I feel bad that you dropped your coins. So here's something that'll make you happy. I want to at least ease her pain a little bit. So I pulled out the strawberry milk candy I just received. But Sadako refused to take it. That candy was given to you. My hand froze. She saw me getting this candy. That person wanted you to eat it. So if I did, it'd be rude. Sadako turned her back on me and kept walking. Without even saying goodbye, she continued on to her house with the shopping bags in her hands. I only wanted to ease her pain, but I ended up rubbing salt in her wound. How can I call myself her best friend? If I could, I would have crushed the candy right there. So we're getting to see how the Sadakos, the Hojos, are being bullied and sort of isolated. This is such a good way of showing the past. Like, such a good way. All the fragments and stuff, and learning through the different routes you can take. I love it. So that's what we're going for next. Strawberry milk candy is required. So I'm going to end things off there, because God knows this can get so addictive, and I could just keep going and going. This has been Green XI. Hope you've enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you again in a bit, when we carry on and see what the fragment was about with Mion there. We haven't seen Mion in this arc yet, have we? So it'll be good. Thanks again for watching, folks. See you again in a bit.